Hey, I'm James Reynolds and welcome to Ask A Sherpa, the brand new series by SEO Sherpa that aims to answer your most pressing SEO and inbound marketing questions. Okay, let's go to our first question, and it comes from Shiva Suba on LinkedIn. And Shiva asks, what do you consider the most important part in SEO, and what are the practices you suggest to drive traffic within a website? So Shiva, I'll answer the first part first. What is the most important part in SEO? Well, it's actually no real one thing. It's a selection of things that have got to work really well together in unison. And I guess if we were to put those into buckets, you would have, first of all, content. Secondly, you'd have links. And third of all, you'd have technical SEO. Now, if your website is young, then typically links and content are going to be more important for you because you need to drive up the authority with your website in order to be in with the mix, in order to rank within the search engines. However, once you've got a baseline of quality links and your site is reasonably authoritative, then the focus moves from links and content to content and technical. And you'll often find on a bigger enterprise level website that's really trusted that the technical factors make much more of a difference. Okay, let's go to the second part of Shiva's question, and that was what are the practices do you suggest to drive traffic to a website? Well, this one depends, and it depends on whether people buy your product or service only when they specifically need it, or whether people with no prior knowledge of what you sell buy it almost at any time. Now, if you're in the first category, then definitely SEO or AdWords or any query intent marketing is going to be a good fit for you. If, however, people are not actively looking for your product or service and they buy it almost at any time, not a specific moment, then being able to target people based on demographics or interests is certainly advantageous. So in that instance, I'd probably look for maybe Google Display Network, Facebook ads is still super cheap and super effective, or really just any social media. Okay, our next question comes from Store Leaks app on Twitter, and Store Leaks app asks, for e-commerce websites, is it better to add one or two categories to product URLs, or will this make the URL too long? What is the best structure for product URLs? Okay, well, if you have a large product inventory like an Amazon.com, then you're almost definitely best with a main category like, let's say, electronics, and then a subcategory, let's say, like televisions. Now, if you've got a smaller website that essentially only sells variations on the one thing, then a single category setup should serve you just fine. Okay, well, here are some general rules that might help you. First of all, only group similar products in the same category. Never group televisions with power drills, because it's going to make it really difficult for the engines to decipher what the category is about, and therefore you're really going to struggle to rank those category overview pages. The second thing is go with as few categories as possible, because the more that you have, the longer the URL becomes and the further away the product page becomes from the root domain, which may seem to search engines like the page is less important because it's deeper within the website. So fewer categories if at all you can. That will really help you rank and get the best possible results. Okay, our next question comes from Tickle Marketing on Twitter, and they ask, I see people selling guest posts on high DA websites. Does this always work to help rankings? And if not, what's missing? Well, in short, does it help? Yes, a good quality link from an authoritative website should always generally help with rankings, but you're right, domain authority should never be viewed in isolation. There's a lot more factors which you need to consider when thinking about which sites will be good to guest post on. Okay, here's where I insert the disclaimer. Remember, buying links is against Google's guidelines, but I won't deny that it can still work. So if you're going to enter into the practice of purchasing any sort of links, choose them wisely, or better still, just don't do it at all. Now, the first one is, how relevant is the domain? Does it publish content on topics closely related to your website, or is it more general interest, or really not that well aligned at all. Links from relevant websites are always going to have more impact than links from general interest websites or those that just simply are not on the same topic. Next up, you want to consider if the domain authority of that site has been declining or increasing over time, because very often you'll accept a guest post link from a low domain authority website, knowing that it will appreciate over time as the website becomes more authoritative. On the other hand, if that website's in decline, then the link might be okay now, but in the future, it probably won't hold much value to you at all. Okay, this next one's important. You need to look at whether the website has high quality content or low quality content. It's very easy to have a website that has high domain authority, but the content on the website really is no good. And this is probably one of the real challenges with guest posting, is that many of the sites you can win links from don't have very high editorial standards, which means really any old rubbish can get posted there. Now, Google care a lot about the quality of the content, so you want to care a lot about the quality of the content too. So be really stringent, make sure that the quality of the publications is extremely high, and look for sites that have really high editorial standards. Those are the ones that you want to target. Next, it's a good idea to look at the page authority of recent posts posted to the website, because by the very nature of guest posting, the content that you publish there is brand new. So the pages themselves will have no page authority when they're first launched. So what you should be interested in is how recent posts have garnered page authority over time. So check articles on similar topics in similar categories on that website and just check the page authority of those. If it's high, you're good. If it's low, you might want to look elsewhere. Now, another consideration is how many keywords does the website you're potentially targeting rank for? Because remember, domain authority is just a third-party metric by Moz. It's not actually what Google are measuring themselves. So it's a little bit of a litmus test. Go and use a SEO tool like an Ahrefs or even a Moz and see what sort of keywords and what numbers of keywords the website is ranking for. If it's ranking for a lot, you're good. If it's ranking for very few keywords, it's probably a good sign that Google don't see that website in such a good light. The last thing that's really important is to check whether links are followed links or no followed links. Now, the way that you can do that is with a simple SEO plugin, which you can add to your browser. I'll put a recommendation for you here on the screen, and check whether those links that are outbound are followed or no followed, because a lot of the main sites now that are being spouted as DA sites that you can buy links on tend to have no followed link attributes. So check, see what they're like. Of course, you want to go after the ones that are full follow links, because those are the ones that pass the most SEO benefit. So there you have it. That brings us to the end of our very first Ask a Sherpa show. Did you learn some cool stuff? Well, let me know in the comments below, or ask a question and I'll attempt to answer it in an upcoming video. Now, be sure not to miss out on our upcoming SEO tips. Hit the subscribe button right now.